Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look through McFarlane, DC Multiverse, Flashpoint, Batman vs. Professor Zoom 2-pack. This is the Thomas Wayne Batman, and the Professor Zoom Reverse Flash. I ordered this from GameStop. Hell, I pre-ordered it from the McFarlane toy store, but they're taking absolutely forever to ship this to me. It's because I ordered this pack and the autographed version, which they haven't received in stock, so of course I have to wait for both to come in. Got tired of waiting, got one at GameStop, free shipping, ordered at the store. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the front, DC Multiverse, Batman vs. Professor Zoom. Here they are in the package. We have a ton of accessories. Both of them come with a collector's card. We have a display base here, a gravestone. Here lies Bruce Wayne, pretty cool. A couple of weapons for both the figures, guns for Thomas Wayne, and then both a masked and unmasked head for both characters. One side of the package, Batman vs. Professor Zoom from Flashpoint. Other side, Batman vs. Professor Zoom. At the bottom, there's a barcode, if that helps. And in the back, here are the two of them post up from the comics. So with no further ado, let's open them up. Alright, now that we've got these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. They come with quite a bit of cool stuff. Collector's cards, weapons, masked and unmasked heads, a little diorama base. This is a Flashpoint set based off the Flashpoint comics, and it's a Thomas Wayne Batman and Professor Zoom Reverse Flash. In this video, we're going to take a look at each of the figures individually. We'll check out their accessories, height, and articulation, and we'll compare them with a bunch of other action figures. Let's go and start off with Thomas Wayne, Flashpoint's Batman. Before we look at Thomas Wayne, let's check out some of their non-character specific accessories. So, we have two collector's cards. Here's an image of Thomas Wayne as Batman from Flashpoint. On the back, there is a description. Long story short, instead of Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed in this universe, Bruce Wayne got killed in the alley, causing Thomas Wayne to become Batman and Martha Wayne to snap and become the Joker. And then here is a collector's card with Reverse Flash, Professor Zoom from Flashpoint. There's a description here. If you want to read it, pause now. And for this diorama base, a lot of the 2-packs come with bases like this, and I think they're usually pretty cool. This one looks very familiar. I think it's the same as one we got before, but it has a tombstone that says, "Here lies Bruce Wayne, beloved son." That is super cool and can be super useful. It's sort of diorama base of a cemetery. It's got a couple different pegs for the peg holes on their feet. And it is exactly the same as the base that came with the Batman vs. Hush 2-pack, except that one says, "Here lies Jason Todd." Very cool accessories. And the Year 2 Batman came with a similar diorama base, another sort of gravestone, and with the black and white version coming up soon, we'll have a bunch of these things. So here's a look at Thomas Wayne. Like I said, Bruce Wayne's father, but in this universe, Bruce Wayne was killed, and Thomas Wayne became Batman. He's got 2 pistols, 2 heads, and a sword. Let's take a closer look. So, this is his unmasked head, and personally, I prefer the masked head. It's an old man Thomas Wayne. The face sculpt, the hair, it all looks very good. He has that Flashpoint Batman symbol, sort of red circle behind it, red utility belt, holsters. This Batman kills, uses guns. He's a much different Batman than Bruce Wayne. His son getting killed turned into a violent, sort of hateful man. He's got those little points on his shoulders there. Cape's made of plastic. Double jointed knees, double jointed elbows. This is done on sort of an older McFarlane body. It's got the old school ball joints. They didn't really update anything, but we'll check that out in depth shortly. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I think the Thomas Wayne unmasked head is great, and the masked head is also great. I'm actually surprised that they displayed the unmasked version of the package. I think the masked version is a lot more appealing, and that one was also a lot harder to get. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. And let's start off with his heads. He has 2 of them, one with the mask on, one with the mask off, and he has a separate cowl piece for when the mask is pulled down. Here's a look at his first head. This is the unmasked Thomas Wayne head. And it has a cowl on the back of his neck like he just pulled the mask off. And then here's the masthead. It has red eyes. He looks angry. Almost has sort of a half smirk going on, like he's enjoying that he's hurting somebody. And it has good amount of sculpting into the cowl. Semi-short ears. Looks great. And here's the head sculpt of the original Thomas Wayne Batman. It is a new head sculpt, and I do appreciate that. I do like the original one better, but it's nice to have variety when you get the figure numerous times. Now let's look at his guns. Yes, you heard me. Guns. A DC figure that comes with guns is unusual nowadays. Warner Brothers has a no-gun mandate. Any officially licensed DC figures are not allowed to come with guns. But somehow, because this is labeled ages 17 plus, they're light-up guns. I don't really fully understand, but it seems like the rules loosening up a little bit. 2 black pistols. Pretty good amount of sculpting detail. Paint job is mostly black, but it has a little bit of sort of silver wash going on to it. You gotta have guns with the Flashpoint Batman. Here's Thomas Wayne holding those 2 pistols. And then here he is holstering those pistols. Now let's look at his sword. I believe this is an Amazon sword that he used to stab Reverse Flash with. The sword is really, really oversized, and the top is very, very gummy, very bendable. And I see a lot of people complain about that. I don't understand why, because I don't really like it either. But I understand McFarlane is making it like that, so it's harder to break. But man, their accessories are typically super oversized. Here's Thomas Wayne holding that sword. Like I said, it is way too big. Now I want to check out the differences and similarities between this 2-pack Thomas Wayne Batman and the original single release, which is originally Target exclusive and was very, very hard to get. It was one of the most sought after and highly rated McFarlane figures of, I think it was year 2. The unmasked version was a wide release. The masked one was Target exclusive. A lot of people are going to get this pack because they missed out on the first one. So the biggest difference is going to be the head sculpt. This one has a pretty much frowny face, and this one has his mouth semi-open. Now beyond that, everything else appears to be exactly the same. The paint job, the sculpt, the accessories, just simply that head. I appreciate at least something being different. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right about 7.1 inches tall, which can translate to around 18 centimeters. If you go to the top of the ears, about 7.2 inches tall. And for his articulation, starting with his head, it can rotate side to side. He can look up, not much, down, pretty good amount. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes about 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He's got this butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest. Increase the range of motion. But more importantly, covering the gap that would be there. Bicep cut. Double jointed elbows. Although the glove sort of restricts it from going all the way in. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged as well. He's got a ball joint in his torso. Rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist. Although that one is very tight. Rotates around, forward and back. Between the two, good range of motion. Definitely more out of the torso than the waist on this guy. Legs, almost complete to splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is non-existent. The legs go forward. I don't know about that much. They don't really go up that far. No rotation. Double jointed knees. And his ankle. And they're pretty ugly ankle joints. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt, rock, and toe articulation. Here are all 3 versions of McFarlane's DC Multiverse Flashpoint Thomas Wayne Batman. The original masked version, this 2-pack version, and the original unmasked version. And here he is next to another Thomas Wayne McFarlane Batman. This one is from a completely different Earth in the multiverse, where similar events led to Thomas Wayne becoming Batman. This one's from Earth 2. Then, next to both of my DC Direct Thomas Wayne Batman figures, on the left from Flashpoint, on the right from Earth 2. Next, with an SSR Night of Vengeance, this is a third-party unlicensed Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman. Here are all of my Thomas Wayne Batman figures by SSR, DC Direct, and McFarlane. Way back when the unmasked version came out, I bought 3 of them, one to keep unopened, one to keep as is, and one to do a head swap to make Thomas Wayne in civilian attire. Here he is in a business suit. I can imagine a storyline where Thomas Wayne comes to the multiverse into the main Earth continuity. He passes DNA test, teeth, fingerprints. Turns out Thomas Wayne's been alive the whole time, at least that's what Gotham City thinks, and they turn over the Wayne fortune to him, thus crippling Bruce Wayne and Batman. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. We have 2 different heads, masked and unmasked, and then we had his lightning rod. Could have used some Speed Force effects for his running poses, but I have plenty of those in a baggie. So let's take a look at the figure. This is Professor Zoom, Reverse Flash, Eobard Thaw, a lot of different identities or names. Pretty much he has the same powers as Flash. He replicated the actidons from the future, and he's one of his arch enemies. He's this unmasked head, he's screaming, he's an older guy. The hair looks pretty damn good if you ask me. The face stuck in a scream pose is only good for certain poses and situations. He's got the little cowl, you can see little sort of wings, the cowl behind his head. This is done on the Booster Gold Blue Beetle body, which we've seen a few different flashes on so far. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, little sort of wings on his boots. Overall looks good. Reverse Flash is definitely a figure that I will completely forgive them for reusing a Flash and just repainting yellow. I think that is quite appropriate in this situation. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. It is a good face sculpt. I'm not a big fan of screaming heads because you can't really use them for all-purpose scenarios, just when they're sort of interacting, fighting, yelling, intense sort of scenarios. But for what it is, it does look pretty good. And of course, you have the masked head that I imagine most people would display this figure with. And then, here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. Starting off with his heads. He has 2 of them, one with the mask on, and one with the mask off. Here's a look at his first head. This is the unmasked Eobard Thaw head. And for that extra little detail, they have that little cowl piece, like he just pulled the mask down and it's sitting behind his head. And here's his alternate head. It just looks too friendly, too happy. He's got that sort of smile going on because he's up to something, but it just doesn't look sinister. It looks like they just took Flash's head and repainted it yellow. And I don't believe that's the case. I believe it's a brand new head sculpt. But it just looks like a good guy. It doesn't look menacing at all. And if you look at the Flashpoint Barry Allen Flash figure, it is a different head sculpt. This guy has the full smile. The head's a little bit different. And it's odd, because they released a Wally West Flash on this body recently, and he has a much more sort of serious or almost sinister looking face. They should have used this head sculpt for Reverse Flash, and just adjusted the wings on the side. And here's his lightning rod. Reverse Flash can be seen carrying that lightning rod around in the comics. I think in the old days he had to use that to enter the Speed Force. I don't think he needs it anymore. It's got lightning at the top, a little bar in the middle, and lightning at the bottom. Actually could be a pretty cool accessory for a Maxi Zeus type character. Here's the Reverse Flash holding that lightning rod. He can only hold it with one hand because he only has one gripping hand. Now to check out the differences and similarities between the Flashpoint Flash and the Flashpoint Reverse Flash. And I expect that to be everything is the same. Now they do utilize the Blue Beetle body. A lot of figures have used it, but he shares more parts with the Flash. So, let's start with the head. The heads are different. Similar size, but it's a different mouth, different wings, etc. Now, everything else is the same, except his lightning bolt is backwards, but it's simply painted on. There's no sculpt there. The shorts or trunks, the same sort of belt thing. Every single thing is the same about these 2 figures, except for the paint job and the heads. And like I said before, in a case of Flash or the Reverse Flash, I think that is totally acceptable. All 5 of these figures utilize 100% the same body, except for different heads. Well, at least 3 different heads between the 5 of them. Here's a look at all the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures that utilize the Blue Beetle Booster Gold body. It's a decent all-purpose body. My complaints would be The stupid boot cut that most of them have. The wrists look kind of awkward sometimes. The prominent top two abs separate from the rest of them. But most of these figures look pretty good on this body, except for some minor inaccuracies. And now for his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 6.9 or 7 inches tall, which can translate to around 18 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, he can rotate side to side. He can look up and down about that far. Can't tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got this sort of butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion, but covering the large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged as well. Torso, he's got a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist. Rotate around, forward and back again. Between the two, very good range of motion in the torso. Legs, completely does splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation. It's minimum, but it's there. Legs go forward, about that far. Back, not at all. Double jointed knees. And his ankles. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt, rock. And toe articulation. Now let's check them out, next to some other McFarlane Speedsters. Here are all three versions of the Eelboard Thawne Reverse Flash, also known as Professor Zoom. And here he is, next to the new 52 Reverse Flash. This one was Daniel West. Then, next to Godspeed, this is a Speedster that sometimes is on the side of good, sometimes on the side of evil. I put him with my Flash villains. Next, with the Rival, which is sort of the old school Jake Garrick's Reverse Flash. And now, with three different versions of the Dark Flash. On the far left, we have Walter West. And then the one to the right of Reverse Flash is actually Barry Allen for the Flash film. And the one on the far right, I believe it's not actually any of the characters we're familiar with. I think it's some sort of being that's sucking the souls from speedsters and the Speeds Force. Here he is with a couple of versions of Red Death, which is a Batman Flash hybrid from the Dark Multiverse. Here's the Reverse Flash, next to a Speedster villain that McFarlane has not made. This is Zoom. This is a DC Direct figure from the Arrowverse. I hope McFarlane makes this guy. It's a pretty cool design. Now, this is different from Professor Zoom. He's just Zoom. Here's the Reverse Flash, next to a couple of McFarlane Barry Allen Flash figures. Then, with a couple of Wally West Flash figures. Next, with Jake Garrick and Max Mercury. And now, with the Wallace West Kid Flash and the Bart Allen Impulse. Here are all the McFarlane DC Multiverse Speedster figures. We have 42 so far. I'm sure we'll get plenty more coming. I can't even think of what the next one coming out is going to be. Here's a look at the Thomas Wayne Batman fighting the Reverse Flash in the city streets. And here's a look at the Thomas Wayne Batman stabbing Reverse Flash with that sword. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's the entire McFarlane Flashpoint collection. Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, Reverse Flash, Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. It's a pretty good collection as is, but there are tons more characters they could make from Flashpoint. I was always hoping they would release Yo-Yo and a Martha Wayne Joker. Now let's check them out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here they are, next to the Tempest, Flesher Superman, and Dark Flash Wave. I'm currently on the hunt for Nightmaster, which is the Platinum in this wave. Here they are, next to the most recent Batman movie wave. Both versions of the Batman Begins Batman, Michael Keaton Batman, and the Batman Begins Platinum Scarecrow. And here they are, next to the 9th wave of Collector's Edition figures. Both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Guy Gardner Green Lantern, Power Girl, and Captain Cold. Then, next to the Joaquin Phoenix Joker and Franklin Murray 2-pack. Here are these two, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Icon. And here they are, next to the Target exclusive Gold Label Wildcat and Orion. Then, next to the most recent Page Puncher wave, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Shazam and Captain Thunder, the comic version of the Christopher Reeve Superman, and both versions of the animated Red Hood. And now, with the King Kong vs. Batman 3-pack. And finally, next most recent Batman comic wave, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Silver Age Batman and the Noel Batman, the Platinum Batman vs. Spawn Batman, and all 3 versions of the neo-gothic Batman Beyond Batman. Now let's check them out next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how they fit in both scale and style-wise, in case you will know which lines you can mix them with. Since they're McFarlane toys, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work my smaller. But first, let's check them out next to some of their McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale, and now with some Jack-specific wrestling figures and some Diamond Select toys. Here they are, next to some cheese cubes. And here they are, with some NECA and DC Direct figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a pretty nice Flashpoint set. It's a great opportunity for people who didn't get the original Thomas Wayne Batman to get him with this pack. And then Reverse Flash, he's a nice figure, but the face sculpt is very soft. I don't like the smile, it makes him seem like he's Barry Allen or a hero. He does not dethrone the Rebirth version of Reverse Flash as my favorite Reverse Flash McFarlane has made. I don't mind the Blue Beetle Booster Gold body. It's consistent with the other recent Flash figures. I just don't like that expression on the face. It just not looks sinister at all. It looks innocent and kind. The accessories are pretty good. We do need some Speed Force effects for Reverse Flash, but Batman has the sword and the guns and the unmasked head. They both have masked and unmasked looks, which is fantastic. If I were to rate these figures, I'll probably give Batman a 7.5 out of 10 because it's a very nice figure, but it does have some flaws of the original one. Articulation's a little bit on the weak side, and the ugly ball joints in the ankles. I do think the regular Flashpoint Batman is better than this one because the expression is a little more normal, but this one is damn near the same. And then Reverse Flash, probably going to give him a 7, and I'm kind of leaning towards 6.5. Just that expression really throws me off and doesn't make it seem like it's Reverse Flash to me. Beyond that, the set's very nice. If it just had a better expression on Reverse Flash, this whole thing probably would get about an 8 out of 10. And I guess it doesn't really make sense since I didn't give either one of them an 8, but it would have really made the pack a lot better. That's my biggest complaint. Still, it's a nice set, and I'm happy to add to the Flashpoint collection. Hopefully, they'll give us additional characters to add to our Flashpoint team in the future, but we will see. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to save the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.